beautiful family, Soulmate community family, coming to you live on Facebook, coming to you from the podcast, coming to you on Instagram TV, coming to you on YouTube, coming to you on all different platforms. This is Jacob Rakowski. I'm very, very excited for today, which is our 1-year wedding anniversary, 2/22/2020, going live at 2:22 p.m. CST. And we are super excited to be going live with you right now. Megan is going to pick it up for a second because I'm going to do a watch party in the Soulmate community.
So welcome everyone. We're so excited to share with you everything today, and we have our lovely, my sister-in-law, his sister, taking care of our baby Lily.
Outside.
So if you hear some cooing, that's, who it is. So we actually went out yesterday and had a really amazing date night. It was one of the first times that we were able to get out, basically, since Lily was born, especially by ourselves. And we went and got some vegan dumplings. We got some vegan ice cream. We watched a movie late last night. So we could only get childcare yesterday, so that's why we went on that day. So we're ready and full of love, and sat down, had a good conversation on what we're going to talk about today, and we're excited to share everything with you.
Absolutely. So the notes that I have for this are in the other room. I'm going to go grab them really, really quickly, but we have prepared a full hour. So we're going to treat this as, I want you to treat this as if you paid $100 to be here on this live with us, or treat this as if you paid $1,000 to go to a couples retreat, or treat this as if you were in the process of the next best year of relationship, either with yourself or with your better half for the next year. Get ready to take some notes and take this information to heart, because this information was gathered by an entire year, and really about 10 years on my behalf, maybe close to 10 years on Megan's behalf, of love, of joy, of gratitude, of peace, of travel, but also pain, sweat, tears, a lot of challenges that we've been through as well that we want to share with everybody so that you can get the benefit of shortcutting the process and being able to have a beautiful, strong, powerful, vibrant, loving relationship just from watching this Facebook Live. So I'm going to scoot this a little bit closer so everybody can see. But we are talking about the 12 greatest secrets we learned in 12 months of marriage. And for those of you that are inspired by this information, if you want to get more information on what we're doing, you can text the word Soulmate to 85100 for free, cool updates that we're going to be putting out. And you can go to thesoulmatecommunity.com for more wonderful things like this and information that we're bringing to you. I'm going to hand it to Megan for a second. I'm going to go grab our notes, and we're going to dive into this thing. Let's go, guys.
Yeah, so today we are going over the 12 greatest secrets that we learned during marriage. And as Jacob mentioned, this comes from both our, I don't want to say failings, but some of our difficult times during marriage. And by that, I mean the two of us came together in a really explosive way, I would say.
Yeah.
Our lives combined really quickly, and it's been a year. We, dated, got married, had a baby, started it like the Soulmate community. I immigrated here to a new country, moved in with Jacob. So we had everything shifted in our lives, our identities, who we are as people, because we turned from regular people to parents, as well as, not regular people, non-parents to parents.
Yeah.
We went from single to dating to married. So it was a lot of changes. So we kind of looked back and we said, what was the key things, if we could share anything with anyone, what are the key points that we learned during that year?
I just want to compliment you, baby, because I'm looking at you on the screen and you're just so beautiful. So thank you. Just thank you for being born. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for my wife. I'm so grateful for my life. I'm so grateful for our daughter. And I'm so grateful for all of you, because if any one of those pieces in this equation were missing, we would not be doing this Facebook Live right now. I'm so grateful that my wife is committed to growth with me. I'm so grateful that we had our daughter, because she propelled us in this direction. We weren't really expecting to go in this direction, but when she was born, we were just filled with so much love. And we said, the greatest thing we can do for the world right now is fill the world with this much love that we're experiencing right now. And by the way, if you know you're going to take value, or if you know somebody that could benefit, drop their name in the comments and tag them, because we always under promise and over deliver. We always bring more than we say we are, and we're going to bring you guys so much value. If you want to host a watch party, share it. Make sure that not only you, but the people in your circle internalize this information, because you are who you spend your time with. Now, if the people in your circle, say the 5 closest people to you, are negative, gritty, kind of, just critical, they're not hopeful, they're not working on themselves, it doesn't matter. You are going to be influenced by that circle. But if the 5 people in your circle are loving, are working on themselves, are grateful, are hopeful, are excited, then you, by osmosis, are going to be turning more into that, and so is your family. Our goal with this is to help you manifest your soulmate, help people who already are in relationship to have more love in their life, to help you live in love with yourself, life, and God all day long, and for this entire planet to have a greater consciousness for love and joy because of the work that we're doing here. And we know that what we're doing is that impactful. So tag people, watch party, share this, wherever you are, whether you're on Instagram TV, YouTube, the podcast, Facebook Live with us, wherever you are, be sure to share this with people, because this is absolutely life-changing. So one thing I want to start with is that our concept of marriage might be very different than a lot of people's concept of marriage. But I want you to write down this word if you're taking notes. The word is stewardship. Stewardship. What is a steward? So what would you say a steward is of something? So I didn't prepare her for this. So let me share with you guys. So the concept of ownership is what a lot of people look at a relationship as, is that you're mine. We own each other. You have to do what I say. But that's not really a concept where love flourishes. Stewardship is a person who cares for, a person who looks after, a person who tends to. Now, what do you think would bring you greater results, greater love, greater joy in your life? Would it be stewardship, or would it be ownership? Go ahead and drop in the comments, if you're on Facebook Live with us, which one you think would be better for your relationship, stewardship or ownership, because the way we've treated our marriage is of a stewardship. One of the wisest and most powerful people I know, his name is Dr. Billy Martin. He said that, Jacob, completely forget about yourself and serve your wife. And he said, Megan, completely forget about yourself and serve your husband. Now, he said that with a grain of salt, because you have to be a full cup. You have to be full. You have to be loved by yourself. You have to be in a great place yourself to love somebody else. But the way we see our relationship is by the opportunity to serve each other. And that's a golden nugget that we didn't even write on this list. Megan, do you want to talk about that for a second?
About serving? About
stewardship, just the concept.
Yeah.
Versus ownership.
Yeah, and with that quote from our favorite Dr. Billy Martin, when he means forget about yourself, he's more talking about in terms of your ego.
Yes.
So I use that phrase and that message when we get into like a disagreement or a misunderstanding, because in order to understand the other person and to serve the other person, you have to kind of put yourself in a back seat so that you can put yourself in the front seat with them and see what their point of view is. So it's not necessarily for like devote your whole, everything and not
honor yourself,
not take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But what it means is that when times get tough, a really good strategy is to drop your ego and really try and understand the other person's point of view, and that's how you serve them, versus try to control them or make sure that you're always right, or whatever you need to do to prove that you're superior or whatever in the relationship.
Absolutely. So it's a dichotomy. You must serve, and serve is the word of honor. Serve is the word of consider. Serve is the word of think about how you can do good to your partner. Rather than being self-focused, rather than only thinking about yourself, there's a place where you're only thinking about yourself, which is the least effective form of relationship. There's a place where you're only thinking about your partner, which is in the middle. It's effective, but it's not the most effective. And then there's the place where both people are taking care of themselves and both people are honoring, loving, caring, and being the steward for each other. And that is where you want to grow to be, in the place of your own self-love, where when you manifest your soulmate, you don't manifest somebody to complete you, you manifest somebody, you want to finish my sentence? To share your completeness with. Yeah. To share your completeness with. So I want to share a little bit about our story, as Megan kind of mentioned. So when we got together, it was December 14th, 2018. If you want to know the full story, there's an interview we've done on YouTube. We're also writing about this in our book as we speak. But when we got together on December 14th, 2018, the third day we were together, we knew we were in love. I don't think we said it for a few more days, but we both knew right away. We were like, yeah, this is a really special connection. And over the next little while, it began to deepen and deepen and deepen. It was December 22nd, we started our relationship. And for both of us, I can say the more difficult thing was to actually commit to a relationship than it was to move in together, get engaged, get married, and do that whole thing. Because we absolutely knew that when we had this connection, that if we started a relationship, this was it. We were going to be together. And neither of us were in a place where we even wanted to be in a relationship. Why? Because we are so happy with ourselves and so focused on our personal self that we didn't even want to have a relationship. But the beautiful thing is, when you find yourself in a state of complete self-love, total self-agreement, complete alignment with your desires, you reach a place called joy. And in that place of joy, everything that you desire comes to you. You don't even have to go looking for it. You want to talk about that? How we put ourselves in that place? Yeah.
And if anyone knows my story as well, I was so committed to myself, I had engaged myself. That's how far away I wanted to be from being in a relationship. And that was a conscious commitment to work on myself. And we talk about the importance of self-love. And when you make that commitment to yourself, it's really easy to then make that commitment to another person, to share a life with them, to be honest with them, to grow with them. So what was I saying?
You were saying, when you get in that place, the thing or the soulmate that you desire just comes to you. You don't even have to go looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what we found when we look back at everything, because we both went on very different self-love journeys.
Absolutely. So it's really, really powerful. There's a quote, and it says, when looking to the loveless only make manifest their own lovelessness. The people who go, that's the quote. The people who go searching for love only make manifest their own lovelessness, and they never find it. The people who manifest love are only the loving, and they never have to look for it. So if you're, for example, you're single and you're going out and you're doing things, great. Go out, meet people, do things. But the place that you're at when you're ready to manifest your soulmate, this is how it happens. When you're so in love with yourself, you actually don't even need that person to show up on the outside for you to be happy. You are so happy with yourself that by your sheer energy, your sheer vibration, that person simply shows up in your life. And that's exactly what happened for both of us. Mm-hmm. We were both committed to ourselves. We were both focused on our careers. We were both very, very committed to working on our relationship with ourselves and our relationship with our life. And when we met, it was undeniable that we were supposed to be together. And when we started our relationship, it wasn't a typical, she comes over, twice a week after work. Megan, you want to share, that beginning stage?
Yeah, I flew down to visit Jacob just as friends, and that was December 14th, 2018. And I never left. So because I was staying at his home, the second we basically were together, we were moved in together, you know what I'm saying? So we have been together 24/7, technically before our relationship, into our relationship, into our marriage, and now.
Yeah. So most relationships, people have a full-time job. Maybe they start out, dating for a while, and, they might see each other once or twice a week. That's not how it was for us at all. We've done 5 years of marriage in 1 year. We have not been apart for more than 3 or 4 hours at a time for the last 14, 15 months. We seriously have been together 24/7, 365 for over a year now. And that's how our relationship is. Now, how do you know if you have manifested your soulmate? How do you know? There was a quote that somebody shared with me after we had already manifested each other, but it made so much sense. It said, when manifesting your soulmate, when looking for the person that you want to marry or spend the rest of your life with, don't look for the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Well, that's weird. Who should you look for? Look for the person that you can't picture the rest of your life without. Who is the person you can't picture the rest of your life without? That is your soulmate. Now, maybe you're married and maybe it was that way previously, but maybe you've just gotten busy and you don't, that feeling is not fully active at this moment. The next 12 things that we're going to go over with you are going to help you reignite that passion, reignite that fire, and feel that love that you felt for each other from the very first moment you got together, from the very first time you went on a date, from the very first time you knew that you loved that person. We're going to help you reignite that feeling. And the only thing that anybody is ever after in life, period, is a feeling. Why do you want your soulmate? Because how it's going to make you feel. Why do you want $1 million? Because of how it's going to make you feel. Why do you want to travel? Because of how it's going to make you feel. Feelings are the language of the soul. And when the soul is in joy, you're in touch with the infinite. And the infinite is God, and God is within. And if God is within, everything is God. And if everything is God, everything is love. And if everything is love, everything is based on the feeling that you have about it. That's why you want that thing. So we're going to show you exactly how to make everything in your life more loving, especially in your relationship, with what we're going to share with you right now. But we are going to be sharing some really, really powerful information. And once again, I highly recommend begin taking notes, implement this in your life. Don't just sit on here with us for an hour and not implement it. Apply it. And I want you to message us. I want you to email us. I want you to leave a review. I want you to tell us, what has this done in your life? Because this information right here is life-changing, and we are sharing it based on 24/7, 365, a year of marriage that was really more like 5 years of marriage, and we don't get sick of each other. We don't get sick of each other. But here's the thing. Our soulmate relationship is not because we're soulmates. Our soulmate relationship is because we work on it every single day, and we consider each other, and we're mindful of these things. So let's go ahead and get this going. And by the way, if you're loving this, go ahead and comment more in the comments, because we're going to be bringing it to you. And comment more if you just want to keep hearing more. Comment whatever you want. We're going to be filling up your life with tons of love. So the very first thing on the list is yes, yes, or no deal. Megan, you want to talk about that one for a little bit?
Yes, and yes.
I'm going to write this down. Yes.
Yeah, so what that means is that when there is a decision to be made in our relationship, whether it's something as small as going to a certain place to eat food, or as big as, should we, do this renovation to the house? Should we move here? Should we, invest in whatever it is? When we say yes or no deal, It means that the two of us have to both be in alignment, meaning that we both want to do what it is genuinely, not just because we want to, make the other person happy. And we're both committed to whatever it is that we're saying yes to.
100%. So, for example, say I want to go to Vegas for a conference. This has happened the other day. We're part of a mastermind with Eric Worre, very, very famous businessman, network marketing leader. And he said, hey, I'm inviting you to my home. You can come to my home for free for 2 days. We're going to give you guys food. You're going to, network with all these millionaires. You're going to be able to come to a party. And our daughter was like 2 weeks old, and never in my wildest dreams would I want to leave my wife and daughter for any period of time, especially at this time in our lives. And I was at a workout one day, and I got inspired, and I was like, you know what? I could fly in that morning. I could fly out that night. It would be 48 hours. And I asked Megan, and she was like, absolutely not. I need help. And at that moment, I was just like, okay, that's it. And what happens when couples make decisions on the other's behalf without them being considered, what happens?
Well, there's a big breakdown of communication and of trust. And you want your partner to honor you and respect you. So that means you want to feel included in the decisions that are coming through.
Absolutely. So if that happens, you create something called separation. And separation is the reason for most of the challenges on this earth. If you saw your neighbor and saw them as yourself, like Jesus said, if you saw them as yourself, you wouldn't steal, you wouldn't lie, you wouldn't cheat, you wouldn't do anything to take from them because you saw them as yourself. And in reality, we are all one. We are all humans. We are all on this earth to experience love and to have fun and to have a better life. And if I see Megan as me, if she says no, I'm not up for it. There is no deal. Hopefully that one is super clear. If anybody has any questions on that, feel free to comment and ask a question. We would be happy to answer those. We're going to go ahead and move up to the next one. That seems pretty simple, okay? Yes and yes or no deal. So when you're speaking with your partner about something, their opinion, their agreement, their blessing should be of the highest importance to you. Because if it's not, you go from both focused to self-focused. And if you go to self-focused in a union, in a relationship, then that's the beginning of breakdown for your relationship. Do you want to say the next one?
The next one, so boundaries are key. So this is something that probably could be a whole hour.
A whole day.
There's a lot of information on it. There's a lot of different approaches to the study of boundaries. And most people in their life don't really know what that means, what a real boundary is, or that it is totally normal in any relationship to set a boundary. And that can be in a friendship, it can be parent-child, and it can be in a relationship. And this was something that I learned recently because I never saw that in my childhood growing up. I didn't know that it was okay to say, this is my level of where I'm comfortable and I cannot go past this, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Like, I have to put myself first because this is something that's really important to me, and this is something that is sacred to my being as a person. So what boundaries are in our relationship are, there are certain things or triggers that the other person might have that are based on whether it was what they saw when they were growing up, or whether it was a childhood experience, or whatever it was that is a sensitive point, and that becomes a boundary for them. So discussing what is it that you want in a relationship, where is it that it's too far if something is happening, and what you will do as an adult who's going to honor yourself to set that boundary. So if that means that, there's a behavior that your partner is doing that really triggers something in you, at that point, you have to understand that you're setting a boundary, and then you need to come up with some sort of enforcement of it, because boundaries are only as strong as when you enforce them. So that might be leaving the room. It might be saying, a safe word like stop, like I can't do this. It might be we need to take a break for a little bit and I'm going to go for a walk or whatever it is. And so that is what we discussed when we first got together, is what is it that are hard stops for you, because that is how I can honor you in the best way, is to respect your boundaries.
Absolutely. So what happens when you don't honor yourself first, as we talked about before, is that you begin to empty your cup, and you begin to empty your cup, and you begin to empty your cup. And if your cup is so empty, eventually you can't show up in the relationship anymore. And that becomes something called codependency, where you're completely drained, the relationship to you feels one-sided, and you feel like you are being emptied out for the benefit of somebody else. And that's not what relationships are about. Relationships are about mutual love, mutual respect, mutual service, mutual giving, mutual receiving. In some seasons, it might be a little bit, one way or the other, but in general, that's the way it is. If you're in a relationship that is one-sided, it's a very unhealthy relationship. And if it hasn't already crumbled, it's on very weak foundation. It's very important that it's give and take. I asked one of the wisest people I know, Bernie Chua, I said, hey, you've been married for 30-something years. What is your secret to a long and happy marriage? And he said, give and take. And then he got up, he went to the restroom, we were eating sushi, and I asked his wife, I said, what? It was their anniversary actually. And I said, wow, congratulations on 30-something years of marriage. What is your key to a long and happy marriage? And she said, give and take. It's the exact same thing. They both said the exact same thing. And they're a very happy, beautiful married couple. They've been married happily for 30 plus years. So boundaries are so critical, where you feel within yourself powerful and strong enough to say no, or to if somebody does something that bothers you or makes a statement that gets on your nerves, just speak up. There's nothing wrong with addressing your feelings. You really get into deep water when you don't address your feelings, which we're going to get into the next one in a second, but you really get into deep water when you don't address your feelings. And then one day out of nowhere, the volcano blows, and it's World War III. And it's like, wow. And that we're really good about communicating. We don't let things build up. We communicate on things as quickly as we can. And we resolve things very, very quickly. In fact, we had a disagreement yesterday, and that's super normal. Newsflash, we had a disagreement yesterday. It was the day before our anniversary. And guess what? We talked it through. It lasted an hour. And then we went and we had a great dinner, and it was no problem. I didn't make her wrong. She didn't make me wrong. We didn't crucify each other and say, forget this. We were mature about it. I went to the store. I went to get some food. She stayed here with our daughter. I came back. Everything was wonderful. We had a chance to breathe, and everything was good. But I needed to say something. She needed to say something. We needed to communicate about it, and then we reached a resolution. But the more important point that I want to talk about on boundaries, because this is a two-part subject, and that is boundaries between the two of you and everything else around you. Do you want to communicate on that at all, or do you want me to start and you pick it up?
Yeah, so what he means by that is that when you decide to commit to each other and become a union, you are a unit that now has a responsibility to keep that sacred. So what that means is that together you guys might have certain boundaries. So it could be anything from, let's say your parents-in-law are, crazy. We just watched Meet the Fockers last night. The Fockers. So that they're crazy, right? So one of your boundaries is, when we go to stay at, my parents-in-law's house, we only stay,
or your house.
Yeah, a certain amount of time. They are not allowed to, go into like the bedroom or, shuffle through our stuff, or, we're not going to talk about certain subjects or whatever it is. Like, you guys decide together what is it that keeps you guys sacred as a union, and what will set your marriage up for success, and how can you protect that from things that might happen on the outside that are totally preventable if you guys are on the same page.
Absolutely. And you know, what's really, really important that I think for a sacred container, because a marriage, a stewardship, that type of agreement between two people is absolutely sacred. And what happens when you poke a hole in a boat, even if it's a pinhole? If the Titanic has a pinhole in it, doesn't matter how big, how strong, how safe, how powerful, how majestic it is, it's beginning to sink. And if your relationship, if your union does not have boundaries, these little pinholes that get poked in it will create the relationship to begin to sink. Now, some people plug those holes and they're able to fix them. Some people just never plug the holes and they're perpetually drowning in their relationship because there are no boundaries. One boundary I can say, for example, this is completely up to everybody how they want to do things in their relationship. But for Megan and I, in terms of anybody's outside energy, flirty energy, romantic energy, whatever coming to us, it's a hard stop. You can't flirt with me. I will tell you to stop. Like, you're going to get shut down. And vice versa. You know, like, it's not available. And one of the things that I see in relationships that have not communicated on this, and maybe it's really unconscious, maybe it's something that they're just doing out of habit, maybe it's something that's completely innocent, but when I see relationships where maybe one person in that relationship is a little bit more flirty with everybody else outside of the relationship, in general, it makes the other person really uncomfortable. And sometimes they don't have the boundaries to step up and say, hey, cut that shit out. That is not okay. That is not cool. Please don't do that. I deserve better. I deserve to be treated in a certain way. Do not be bringing your flirty energy over there. That is not okay. And if people did do that, all the love that goes here and here and here and here and here and here and here, which love is expressed to every living thing. But there's a certain type of love, a certain type of energy that I believe, that we believe in a healthy relationship stays between two people, and that is it. I don't know if anybody resonates with that, but if you do, drop the word me in the comments, because for your relationship to stay sacred, it's got to stay sacred. And that's not the only boundary, but there's a lot of different boundaries that can be set around, like, you know, it could be money boundaries,
like big purchases.
Like, for example, sometimes when, you know, we're together with our family, if I would ask Megan or Megan would ask me to pay for a bunch of things for my family, I'd be like, or she would be like, no, we didn't communicate on that. That's a no. And we just say no. But the thing is, we must be able to be open and communicate about that specific topic or whatever topic and set a boundary and respect that. And that goes back to the exact same thing. Yes, yes or no deal. Boundaries are key. The third one that we're going to talk about is that guidance and help are very important. Get a mentor. Be sure to communicate your needs and say what you need to say to get that off of your chest. Megan, you want to share that while I go ahead and write?
And what we mean by get a mentor, it is not somebody who is like, you know, your parents. And by that, I mean somebody who's a little bit more professional, who may potentially coach in this area of life. We have a coach who specifically coaches on this area of life, which is conscious relationships, and he also does conscious business relationships as well. So he is a relationship guru and just kind of a life guru. And so we have mentorship with him, and we pay him to help us deal with anything that is happening within our relationship that we're not happy with, because it's really hard when you're in something to come out of it and see it from a completely objective point of view. And by having a mentor who specializes in something like this, they can see things that you couldn't even imagine, and they can call you out when you're not being, you know, true to yourself, or you're not being fair, or you're you're making it, the situation, yeah, you're making the situation a bit more harder than it needs to be, per se. So that's what we have as a mentor. And I think a lot of people search for relationship advice with close family and friends because we feel comfortable talking about those issues with family and friends. But what we learned is that we look to people who have really successful relationships, and that doesn't necessarily always come from family and friends.
Many times, almost never.
Yeah, and we do actually have some friends who are very successful in their marriage. We have a couple sets of people. Several people we know.
We've manifested a lot of them, actually.
Yeah, and those would be the type of people that you would seek mentorship from. But we always recommend that you do that if you can, try a professional. And it may not be somebody that you need to pay. It could be somebody who is, who writes books, an author who you love. It could also be like a YouTube person who gives advice, who's maybe a relationship coach, and they have free content out. So it doesn't necessarily have to cost you anything, but find somebody that can kind of pull you out of the situation you're in and really take a hard look at everything and give you the motivation, the understanding to resolve whatever it is.
Absolutely. And I just want to give a plug for a second. My personal mentor, Joseph, has been my mentor in a lot of different areas for about 3 years. And it's also the person that him and his wife, Joseph and Mary, which is very interesting, Joseph and Mary, we speak to personally about once a month just to check in. If something comes up that we can't resolve ourselves, newsflash, we have a business called the Soulmate Community. We are soulmates. We are madly in love. We also have relationship mentors. We also have times where we can't navigate a situation just by ourselves, because Megan has her soul, she has her heart, she has the pure essence of who she is, and she also has her personality that's experienced 24 years worth of things, some good, some very painful. Jacob, exact same thing. So when I get into the place where I'm being unreasonable, or Megan gets into the place where she is feeling like she needs to shut down, we can't communicate to each other anymore. I can't talk to her because she doesn't want to hear it. Yeah. She can't talk to me because I'm not listening in that moment. And here's the thing. We can navigate through that, of course. We can absolutely love each other and work on that. This is an accelerated path to transformation. So if any of you are like really in a tough spot and you need relationship life support like 5 years ago, then we actually can connect you with our mentor, and he can help you on a dime. But and by on a dime, I don't mean free, but we have support that's available. If you are just looking for principles to apply in your life, we're not relationship coaches. We are manifestation experts, okay? We're not psychologists, although we do know a lot about relationships, a lot about psychology, a lot about therapy, a lot about all that. We have no degrees. We don't claim to be able to, fix anybody. We give you the power to fix yourself. But sometimes, in some cases, you need somebody else to speak into your life and give you some insight that you can't see. Could I do that? Yes. Have I been doing it for 20 years like my mentor? No. I'd rather refer you to him, okay? So guidance and help are key. Get a mentor. Now, that could be $150 a month. You just set aside $150 a month. Once a month, you meet with somebody virtually or in person, and you say, hey, here, and you write it down. You don't dwell on it, but throughout the month, you write down some things that you just need to bring up. And maybe you can't bring it up. And then I say, it maybe in some cases, it really doesn't serve it to bring it up in the moment. Some cases, you really need to talk about it right now. But in some cases, I just go, you know what, that's not going to like make or break my day. But when we meet with our mentor, I need to just communicate, when you do this is how it makes me feel. When you have been acting this way, or you have been doing this, you have been acting this way, I'm kind of confused. Can we communicate on that? And then our mentor steps in as a third party and is able to see completely both sides unemotionally and call us on our nonsense, say, hey, this is what this person really means, even though we can't accurately communicate that ourselves because we're emotional about it. And it's really, really helpful. But $150 a month is probably a little bit more than that, what we spend, because we need it on other things as well, like business, like, you know, different things. But you could set aside $200 a month, and it's not something that's catastrophic. When did we have our first, you know,
session?
Yeah, before we even got in a relationship.
Yeah.
Before we even got in a relationship. And that's why, go ahead.
And what that conversation was about was unplugging from everything, and do you really want to commit to each other? Do you really want to be together? And having an honest conversation, and with somebody who understood that we were, you know, not trying to be in a relationship. We were from two different worlds. We just collided, and it was this huge thing. And we would have to change our lives completely and forever in order to make this work. And it was a really strong commitment, because I had to move countries. So, like, it wasn't, you know, I just moved down the block. I had to leave my whole life in Canada and, you know, live here. And it was a big, big decision. I had to leave my whole family behind, all my friends, everything I ever knew. I never left Canada, like, you know, for an extended period of time. And so I was making that choice out of love. And so when we had that meeting, it was really, do you feel like this is what you need to do? And how do you get in touch with your feelings? And having somebody who was a third party really helped, because you don't want to make a decision because you're caught up in emotions, or you're out of fear, because very easily I could have said, I don't want to move my whole life. You know, I'm scared. Like, what if it doesn't work out? And I just gave up everything, and I came down here on a whim. What if it doesn't work out, you know? So having an honest conversation with somebody who wasn't emotionally tied, because if I had that conversation with, let's say, my mom, she would potentially be like, yeah, you're right. What if it doesn't work out? And fear might set in, you know? So that's the type of reason why we have a mentor, is somebody who can look objectively at everything.
That was so well put, baby. Only talk to people about things. Write this down. You might want to get this tattooed, okay? Only talk to people about things who have what you want in that area. What do I mean? Don't talk to your broke best friend about your idea. Don't talk to the person who's been divorced 9 times about the marriage that you want to get into. They're not going to give you good advice. You know a tree by its fruit. Not to say somebody can't change or get better or transform or something like that, but when you ask somebody advice, they are giving you advice based on not what they believe about you, what they believe about themselves and their experience of the world. Unless they are 10 out of 10 on every area of life, they probably are not going to give you the best advice on every area of life. So we have mentors for business. We have mentors for relationships. We have mentors for mindset. We have mentors for internet, this kind of stuff. We have mentors for designing our house. We have mentors for like every area that's important to us. We have a mentor. We have parenting mentors. We hired a midwife. I'm not going to have, even though my mom is a mom, she's never delivered a baby. Okay. We hired a midwife who's delivered 1,000 babies. Okay. Even though my parents have a great relationship, they're not relationship gurus. We hired a relationship guru, right? And nobody wants to be called a guru necessarily, because it's not the guru who does it. You are always the one that makes the change. However, hire somebody or participate with somebody who has your answers, not your problems. And it's 100% okay to have somebody that you and your partner meet with for maintenance. My car got maintenance. It's a beautiful Mercedes. It's 8 years old. It has 80,000 miles. And guess what? It needed something fixed. Oh my gosh. Like, maintenance is necessary. Nothing is ever the same. It's always changing. Step 4, your love can change the world. You want to go over that one, baby?
Yeah, and so what we mean by that is it's kind of a two-part thing. One, it can change your world forever, because when you commit to being in love and being in a union with somebody, your whole life and your idea of what life is transforms, because it's not just you anymore. You're in a partnership, and the two of you are going about to do whatever you want to do in the world. And what I mean by that is you can literally do whatever you want together because you have each other. And you can also do it by yourself, but it's a lot more fun when you do it with somebody you love. And the second part we mean by this is that when you have this feeling of love and when you really commit, even though you think you might not be doing anything, you're actually doing a lot, because every single person that comes into contact with you receives an elevation in their frequency, because you are living your true, authentic self, which is being in love, which is what God is, which is what the universe is. It's love, right? So if you are living in that state of being, anybody who you come into contact with has some sort of change, and you might not notice it right away, but they will change.
Just trying to see if you can read the soulmatecommunity.com. Can you read that? Go ahead, baby. Continue.
What was I saying? Yeah, so anybody who comes into contact with you receives an exchange of frequency, and they elevate, and it might not be right away, but it's on a slow subconscious level. And so what that means is that even when you're out in the world doing whatever it is, like nothing could have changed in your life. You know, you're just living out of love, but you have the same job, you're doing whatever it is. You're literally changing the world by elevating the frequency on the planet through living this way. And so that's what we mean by your love can literally change the world. It can change your world, and it will eventually change the world all around you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, baby, for sharing that. And I want to share with you guys, we would not be having this conversation with you, starting our company, the Soulmate Community, doing the things that we're doing, had we not met. And we don't think we know that millions of people are going to benefit from this information, single and in relationships, and even children, based on some of the later things that we're going to be teaching about how we're raising our family and how we're raising our daughter. But you coming together with somebody that you love, that's truly your soulmate, when you're truly committed to growth, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 1,000, okay? The two of you together are so powerful. Megan is everything that I'm not and everything that I am. I'm everything she's not and everything that she is. What do I mean? We're everything we are because we are love, we care for each other, we consider each other, we're authentic. She's everything I'm not because my weaknesses are her strengths, and vice versa. We picked a very, very complementary relationship where everything that I don't do well and that I don't even like doing, she does extremely well. And there's nothing that Megan doesn't do perfect, but for those things that I'm really good at, she lets me do very well. So with that said, when you come together with somebody and you have a growth mindset and you're committed to bettering yourself, you're going to change the entire world around you. Your house, your neighborhood, your city, your community, your city, your state, your country, your continent, your world, your universe. You can change the entire thing with your love. 5, learn how to speak your partner's love language. You want to share on that one?
Yeah, so love language is something that we definitely did not come up with. It is a series of books. What's the guy's name?
Just search 5 love languages.
Yeah, so it's a book that you can read, and I'm sure there's summaries on the internet of what each love language is. So what that means is that every single person has a method of telling people how much they care about them and how they receive that information as well. So for example, I am somebody who loves to show people that I love them by doing acts of service. So when people come over, I'm constantly saying, do you need anything? Can I get you anything? That's me trying to make somebody feel welcome and feel like they're at home, right? So that is how I show people that I love them. For example, Jacob, I'm constantly can I make you food? Can I heat up anything for you? Can I get you this? And that's how I show him that I care. How I receive.
But you also.
Yeah, how I receive is I also appreciate acts of service. So when somebody is, can I do this for you? Can I help you here? Can I make you food? Can I do this? That's how I receive love, and that's how I know that I'm being loved.
So when you're talking about though how you show me love,
mm-hmm.
the most effective way to show me love is
your love language. So even though that's how I show love naturally, I have to learn Jacob's love language. which is physical touch and words of affirmation. So mainly physical touch. He likes to be feel like he's cared for in a way that is, together physically, me showing him affection, much like a dog.
Yeah, just that little thing like gave me a zing. I'm like, I just got energy just from like her like doing that for like 1 second. So,
yeah. And even though, before I met him, I wasn't a very touchy person, I had to learn that, and I had to consciously choose, okay, how am I going to show up for him today? And that might mean that, he's studying or whatever he's doing, and I walk by him and I, give him a pat or, touch him in whatever way it is, just to reaffirm that I understand that that's how you receive love, and this is me giving it to you.
Absolutely. So when you speak, Megan, it's natural for you to show your love language to other people in the way that you receive it, but it is ineffective to only show love to them in that way. If Megan only focused on doing acts of service or things like that, I would not feel completely full, because the way I receive love most is by physical touch and by words of affirmation. Like, hey, you did so good with that. Great job. Or, just holding my hand, or, just scratching my back or whatever. Whatever it may be, when you learn to speak your partner's love language, they will feel love. You might have a whole bunch of issues happen in your world right now because you are speaking your love language to your partner who speaks nothing of your love language. My love language is physical touch and words of affirmation. Megan appreciates those things, but to her, acts of service is the main thing. So if I'm doing all this stuff and I'm busy and I'm working on this, I'm taking care of Lily, I'm doing something else, she appreciates that, but she appreciates most when I'm attentive to her and I say, hey, what is it that you need? How can I help you? Can I do something for you? Can I go to the store and pick up your favorite food? Can I get something done for you? Can I help you with this? Can I do that? And Megan has a love language that's not listed on the 5 love languages, but it's called food. Acts of food or gifts of food. Megan, absolute. And would you say gifts is one of yours? Like well thought out gifts?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. Megan, if it's food, Megan really loves food. So if I went and picked up, gemstones for Megan all day long, she'd be like, that's great, but where's my pizza? Or where's my dumplings? We just went for dumplings yesterday. Or where is, she appreciates vegan food, vegan desserts. And if I didn't know that, she'd be feeling very empty. So the 5 love languages are quality time, which means phone is off, you're present with each other, which everybody appreciates that, by the way, but some people are more than others. Your undivided attention, they want to be the center of your world, okay? The second one is physical touch. That's massaging, that's holding hands, that's just gently, touching somebody as you walk by, kissing, cuddling, stuff like that. Acts of service, which is doing the dishes, cooking food, taking care of an errand, anything that can be devoted to helping that person out, that's how they feel love. The 4th love language is words of affirmation. Words of affirmation, somebody could be busting their butt doing all the right things, but if you don't know how they receive love, which is, wow, baby, you're doing so great. Congratulations. I really noticed that when you did that thing today, you really did this well. And then you give them a specific detail about that. Or, wow, you look pretty. Or, wow, your hair looks great. Or whatever it is, that person feels loved by being told. Okay? And the final one is personalized gifts. Personalized gifts for the gift-giving person is so important. It doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to be exorbitant. It has to be well thought out. So when Megan says, I really want a vegan donut, or I would like some vegan food, or I would like some vegan dessert, or if I would like, this thing or that thing, if I would go out and get her something that showed her that I wasn't really listening and I got her something different, to her, she would feel, wow, this person doesn't really know me. Do you want to share about that for a second?
Yeah. I had a good analogy for this a couple days ago. Now I forgot it. But it's kind of like, well, I can kind of give an example. Like, for example, my dad, his love language is gifts. And so he would constantly, like, shower us in gifts. Like, I mean, Christmas was crazy. Birthdays were like, even when it was my brother's birthday, he would get me gifts just because he was like, I don't want you to feel like you're left out and that kind of stuff. But as a kid, I didn't really resonate with that. And I would tell him, like, I don't even want any of that stuff. Like, can we go, like, hang out? Or can we, can you help me with this? Or can you do this for me? And there was a breakdown of communication there. So what happened was our relationship never really solidified and wasn't as strong as it could have been if we had honored each other's love language. And for example, I know that he loves to receive gifts, but I would never get him any gifts. Instead, I would try to, come over and help him clean the house, So there was a breakdown of communication, and it's really interesting. I find, I don't know if this is true or not, but mostly, especially for me, your love language that you receive in is what you just naturally tend to do to people around you. Yeah. So that's how, if you're, if you're not, if you want to be covert about trying to figure out what your partner's love language is, but I recommend you just directly ask them. And they even have a quiz. You can go on the website, I think, and fill it out and figure out which one it is, because I know some people are very different. But yeah, so figure it out and communicate in their language. It's like, if he spoke Spanish and I spoke English and we never learned each other's language, it would probably not be a very successful relationship.
Completely. So we're going to fly through this because we want to finish up in a good period of time. So number 6, treat each other like you did when you very first started dating. Megan, do you want to talk about that one while I go ahead and write this down?
Yeah. So I feel like most people probably remember what it was like when they first started dating, when there was, that feeling of butterflies where you went the extra mile to make your person feel special. Like, it could be, you planned out a really amazing date, or you brought them, flowers when you took them out, or whatever it was. Go back to that kind of way of honoring each other, because that is how you initially fell in love. And so that those behaviors and the way you were honoring the other person is really how you guys started your relationship. So in order to maintain and keep up that level of love and newness and freshness and attention, pretend like you guys are still dating. And I think that's the easiest way to kind of do that.
Complacency is the end of relationships. Mm-hmm. Lack of appreciation is the number one reason why people get in arguments. Okay. Another one that's really, really important is finances, which that's really important. But outside of that particular thing, which that's a whole nother course, lack of appreciation. I read in How to Win Friends and Influence People, when the wives of people, the people who got divorced, the wives were surveyed. What was the number one reason? Lack of appreciation. If somebody's doing something well, appreciate them in the way that they feel appreciated. Now, if you start taking each other for granted, if you stop doing the things you did at the beginning, which got you into the relationship, it would only make sense that if you stopped doing those things, love would eventually diminish, and eventually it wouldn't even exist. Some people have been together for however long just because. They don't even know why. And it's so sad. How horrible would it be, like, if we were just like, hey, and then just walk past each other and never even acknowledged each other and never did anything nice for each other? Who the heck would want to be in a relationship like that? Newsflash, unfortunately, that's more people than it should be. So if you want to blow somebody's mind, do something nice for them that they're not expecting. All the time when we started dating, and we still do this thing, just not as often. Why? Because these are our lessons just as much as they're your lessons. We're always doing nice stuff for each other. And we're still always doing nice stuff for each other. Is Lily over there?
No, I was looking at
okay.
you.
Oh, you're looking at me? Okay.
I forgot something.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. So When you stop acting like it's the beginning, it is the beginning of the end. When you start dating somebody, it's new, it's fresh, there's a ton of love. You're like, what can I do for this person? You're thinking about them. It's like when you've been together a year or however long it's been, or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, you know, they're normal. They're an accessory. They are somebody that is just a staple, and you don't feel the need to make them feel special anymore. The beginning of complacency is the beginning of the end. Number 7. This one is so critical. Megan, you almost here? Okay. Number 7 is so critical. This one is something we instilled in our relationship at the very beginning, and it comes back to boundaries, but this one needs to be mentioned in particular. Do you want to mention this one?
Yeah. So the only time, I don't even want to say speak negatively, but the only time you are bringing up an issue that you're facing in your relationship, you're doing it with somebody who is a mentor. And what we mean by that, just making sure we do notes, yeah. And what we mean by that is it's very common, you know, you see it in movies all the time, probably see it in your family, probably see it in your friends, that when you have an issue in your relationship, what do? You just start, you know, you talk to your mom, you talk to your friends, you talk to your brother, sister, whatever it is. This person did this to me, and I'm so upset about it, and I can't believe that he or she is treating me like this. I deserve better, blah, blah, blah. And it becomes more of a negative, like you're basically talking bad about your relationship and your partner. And what happens is that this is very much like what we talk about our container as a union. You're then going out and saying all these horrible things about your relationship, and that's all very real energy. Yeah, and it's coming back to your relationship too. Yeah, it taints the image that your friends and family have of you and your relationship, and it also taints your own image of how you have with your partner, because when you start complaining about something, it's very rare that you're complaining to somebody who's going to be like, actually, I think that you're being a little bit, you're complaining to somebody who's going to be like, yeah, I can't believe he did this to you. I can't believe she said this to you. And then it fuels the fire, and now you're being reinforced by your peers, and it just turns into a bad cycle. So when we first got together, we told each other and we promised each other that if we were going to speak negatively, sometimes something might slip out, and that's completely fine, but we're going to try our very hardest to only do it when we're having special time with our mentor, because that is where you can have an honest communication about it and have somebody who's not going to reinforce your, I don't want to say gossip, or just negative self-talk about your relationship. Absolutely. What I wrote down here was the only time you speak about negativity is when you're paying somebody to talk about it. The only time you speak about negativity is when you're paying somebody to talk about it. The only time you speak about negativity is when you are paying somebody to talk about it. If I went to my friend and I was like, oh, Megan, blah, 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 which I don't have anything negative to say because Megan is just wonderful, but you will never, ever, ever hear me say anything negative about Megan, and vice versa. We have a sacred container here. If we have an issue, we're taking it to the person or the people or whoever that we are paying to give us a result. We're not perpetuating problems. We are sharing a challenge for the purpose of creating a solution. If you're talking to somebody about your problems that you're not paying, you are gossiping. If you gossip and if you are poking at that hole, you're poking holes in the bottom of the Titanic, that mother is sinking and it's just going to keep on drowning. If you're gossiping, not only are you making everybody else think bad about your relationship, you are creating an image in your mind that's bigger than it even is, because what you think and say, you create. You are God in the body. You are the creator. You are literally creating your whole world at this moment. And if you're walking around saying negative things about your partner, it might not even be that bad. You're making it that bad. If you guys got some value on the first 7, go ahead and drop a flame. Go ahead and drop a 7. Go ahead and drop something in the comments right now, because we'd love to hear what you guys are getting from this. If you're going to implement something, comment the check mark emoji.
Comment your favorite lesson that you've heard so far. We want to hear what you are gaining from this. But this is so, so critical. You'll never, ever, 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 ever hear me say anything negative about Megan. On the flip side, if anybody walks up to me and says something negative about Megan, you're done. I'm walking away. We're not, like, you're either not my friend or we're just, you're out of my space for a while. It's not happening. This is number one. This is number one right here. And if you keep that way, you'll never have a divorce. You'll never have some big issue. You'll never have a blow up. You might have an argument. You might have something you need to discuss. You might have a period of time where you're upset with each other, but you're not going to have this crazy nonsense happening because you have a safe container. If you're walking around gossiping, that person can feel it. And not only that, but you're thinking about it when you see them. And you're like, ooh, I wonder if they know what I said, right? Have you ever walked into a room and figured out someone was just talking about you? How does that make you feel? We don't have that. People in our world who gossip or whatever, we spend less time because we don't have time for that. The only time you talk about something negative is when you're paying somebody for it. 8. I'll start this one. We are on number 8. We are on the same team. What does that mean? You must say the 2 most important words even when it's not easy. We all learned this when we were 5. I'm sorry. Say the 3 most important words that mean the most, even when it's not easy. I love you, and mean it. And be mature about things when you're not doing it right, when you're making a mistake, and own it. Personal responsibility. So you want to talk about that while I write that down?
Yeah, so this was a really interesting realization that I had when we first got together. It wasn't me versus Jacob. It wasn't, I was right, he was wrong, he was right, I was wrong. That wasn't the case for anything that we were ever dealing with. We are on the same team and it's us together, and we have to communicate together and make sure both of us are honored so that we can go out into the world and be successful and be happy. And so it was the biggest thing for me to realize that this is my teammate. This is somebody who chose to spend the rest of their life with me. So it really changes how you honor, how you speak to the person, because it wasn't like, let's say he had to talk to me about something that I was doing that was upsetting him, right? Instead of being so hurt and being like, well, what about my side? What about, listen to me, blah, blah, blah. It was, wow, we're on the same team. I'm his teammate, like if we were playing, basketball or whatever it is. And
baby, we can play basketball. You're not pregnant anymore. Megan is a beast at basketball. She's the best teammate. She just, yeah. Go ahead, baby.
So if you can imagine that you're on like a team, like a sports team, and somebody is not playing the best that they could, or they could have passed you the ball when they didn't have to take it all the way, and you might have lost the game. You just have a conversation with them. You don't get mad at your teammate for saying, hey, you could have thrown me the ball there, or you could have, defended me a little bit better in this situation, in this play or whatever it is. And so that was one of the biggest shifts for me, is that it's not just me anymore. It's not just me. It's us, and now it's our family, and it's us and our daughter.
Yeah, this is all about boundaries. This is all about the unit. This is all about we are one. We're not separate. You and your partner are individuals, but you're one. They are you. You are them. You're on the same team. And if you see them as separate from you, you're going to see all their mistakes. You're going to see all the things they don't do well. You're going to start to criticize them when they don't do things you would do. But when you see yourself as one, as a unit, even if they make a mistake, it's so obsolete because you just love them. It doesn't even matter. It's just not even worth thinking about. It's like you just forget about it. I don't remember the last mistake you made because I don't think you've ever made one. And we just move on. We just forget about it. We're on the same team. 9, nothing is as bad as it seems. You want to go over that one?
This is kind of a really cool realization for me, because when I look back at when we first got together and we were moving in, we were dealing with immigration, all this kind of stuff, planning the wedding, doing a whole bunch of things. We had more disagreements than normal because we were literally trying to figure out how are we going to take two people who live two separate lives from two different countries, how we're gonna put them in one house 24/7 and combine them into one unit. We had a little bit more disagreement than normal, and I remember thinking, like, wow, this is so, like, when you're in the middle of a fight, thinking, this is so hard, I can't believe, like, I can't do this anymore, you know what I'm saying? And then 2 hours later, 2 days later, 2 weeks later, 2 years later, you can't even remember it. You look back and you're like, that was so silly, like, I was so wrong, or like, that was such a big miscommunication, or you don't even remember it. Like, there's so many things you don't even remember, because it was, when you look back at it, you grow so much when you're committed to each other, you're committed to your growth, that when you look back at these problems, they weren't even problems. They were so small, it was so ridiculous, some of the things that we would disagree about. And you look back at them, and it gives you a real deep understanding that even if you're in a disagreement now, next year, the year after that, you're not even going to remember it. You're going to look back, and it's going to be like, remember that time that, you said this to me? Like, it's hilarious. Like, you can laugh about it, because you realize, again, you're on the same team, you're working together, nobody's trying to hurt anybody. Anytime you hurt your partner, it's pretty much an accident, unless you're in a really, toxic relationship. Yeah. So you just got to realize that this is all, like, it's normal. It's all easy when you look at it from that point of view, that nothing is ever as big as it seems.
Here's something that's really powerful that I realized just listening to a book the other day. Every human action comes out of love, period. However, actions, when somebody doesn't know how to love, it comes off perceived as a very different way. Every single human action comes out of love, the love for something. If you love something, you love it so much that you're give your all to it. For example, if you love gambling, why do you love gambling? Because you want to get ahead financially, and you love it so much that you're willing to bet your whole financial, resources on something. If you lose and your family's in a really tough situation, that's loving incorrectly. So what you must do with your partner is share with them how to love you correctly. If they make that adjustment, then the relationship can continue. If they are completely unwilling to make an adjustment to love you in any way that makes you feel good, then you might not have a happy relationship. I'm not going to give anybody advice on that, but that's the reason. Everyone is loving in the way that they know how to love. Every human action comes out of love. It's just when you don't love somebody the way they want to be loved, or express love in the way that they want to be loved, that disagreements happen. Our daughter is making some noise out there.
Yeah.
10, go out of your way to do kind things. So that's kind of like treat them like you did at first, but that's more emotional. This is purely a physical action. So you want to talk about that one while I write down?
So
don't just make it convenient to do nice things. Oh, it was convenient. No, like, really think about, like, after this, it's our anniversary. I know last night we went downtown to eat some delicious vegan dumplings, and then we had some vegan ice cream, and then we went to this vegan donut shop, and the cop was kind of not nice. I don't deal with not nice people. I just don't have time for that. He was like, "Oh, you can't park here," and I was like, "Beep, I'm out." So, because I just don't have space for that. But I know, and plus it would have taken like 30 minutes. The place was packed. But I know how much Megan loves vegan donuts. We're driving 45 minutes downtown, spending however long in line it takes, coming back. It's our anniversary. It doesn't matter, necessarily, like, whatever, what you're traditionally supposed to do on your anniversary. Megan loves vegan donuts, so we're going downtown to the Voodoo Donut place to get vegan donuts. Go ahead and talk about that, baby. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think a lot of couples potentially could schedule nice things for each other, you know, like we get into a routine kind of, and nice things seem to just kind of fall on anniversaries, birthdays, stuff like that. And then after a while, you're doing the same thing for your every anniversary, the same thing for every birthday or whatever it is. So when we look back at our relationship, we realized that we did start doing nice things for each other just simply out of love and respect for each other. And I think that if you keep that as the center point to guide your actions, then it becomes really easy to do nice things for each other. And it might not be something that, you know, the other person might not necessarily like want to do specifically, but they're doing it because they want to show their partner that they love and appreciate them. And there is a boundary there. Of course, you don't want to do something that, you know, is detrimental to you for your partner. But like, you know, going to see a movie that the other person wants to see.
Megan loves movies. I could never watch a movie for the rest of my life. We watched a movie last night because Megan loves movies. Yeah. You know, and she does wonderful things all the time that she's just like, Jacob would really like that. I'm thinking about him. She bought me a really nice gift for Christmas. It wasn't even, it was how much was that thing you got me? Like $30 or
whatever it was.
Like $30. Yeah. But I was like, you know me. Thank you. And that's it. You know, and you know, Megan just being herself is a gift. I mean, that's my gift. So 11, one word. Date. You got a date. You still got a date. So this has been really challenging for us recently, AKA our daughter turns 2 months on Sunday, tomorrow. However, you got a date. Like somebody commented on our photo when our daughter was born, and they said, you know, I have a couple kids. The one tip I can give you is be sure you still love each other and go on dates, because if not, your soulmate becomes your roommate.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got a date. Otherwise, your soulmate is going to become your roommate. Just your buddy that you just, you know, hey, good night. Hey, good night. No matter what it is, no matter what's your budget, I think we spent like $40 last night, no big deal, on some vegan ice cream and some vegan dumplings. But we found a way, and it wasn't that difficult. I just said, you know, hey, it's anniversary. Mom, would you mind watching Lily for like 3 hours? No problem. She watched Lily for 3 hours. We come back home. She's there. She's ready.
And we did something for free. We watched a movie.
We watched a movie. We watched a movie online.
Together.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that's easy to do. But it was a time where I wasn't sitting out there on my phone working on something. It wasn't a time where she was sitting there, you know, on her phone, going online, looking up something. We were there intentionally together, and we carved out that sacred time together to go on a date. So I'm going to write that down. You can keep talking about that, and then we'll go to the next one.
Yeah. And I think dating, like, there are even books that you can buy that have, like, you know, 30,000 date ideas if you're really struggling with that kind of stuff. But I mean, it just depends on the couple. Like, we are not somebody, like, we are very much, we like to be at home and we like to be with our daughter. So
we just like being together. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what we do. We just like being with each other.
Exactly. So even if you, let's say you're on vacation, you know, and you want to do, you can still do a special night out wherever you are with your person. And it might be as simple as just setting an intention, right? Like, you might have to work together on something or even wash the dishes together, but you're setting the intention that we're doing this together and we're going to spend time together and we're going to talk about, you know, things that make us happy and things that honor each other versus, you know, just talking only about work or talking only about the kids or whatever it was. Like, we talked about a whole bunch of random things yesterday. We didn't talk about work. We tried not to talk about too much about our daughter. I tried not to worry about her. And so that's what we set the intention for that. And that's what we mean by dating, is setting an intention and doing some sort of action to create a feeling and to increase your vibration and create a union together in one thing.
I'm just writing a comment right here, right now for all of you to get more information like this, because we're ending our time together. You can text Soulmate to 85100 for more exciting updates on the things that we're talking about. And then also thesoulmatecommunity.com is where you can really participate in what we're doing. You can actually purchase things that we're putting out that are a lot deeper than this, on manifesting your soulmate, on dating, on relationships, on all that stuff. Because, I mean, guys, honestly, let's be real. We gave you guys some real value today. The thing that's so important for us to do. Oh, the soulmate.com. Sorry, I just typed that quickly. So go ahead and do that. So what's so important for us to communicate to everybody and for anybody to understand about any business is that that business only functions if it's profitable. The reason why we're able to bring this material to you guys is because we have the resources to do it. However, if we don't have the resources to do this, we are not going to be able to bring you this information. So if you've taken a ton of value, if you've been touched or benefited by the information that we've shared, I highly, did you delete that one and post the other one? Yeah. Okay. I highly encourage you to go to the soulmatecommunity.com, check out some of the information that we've created. We are in process of creating our first book. That should be out sometime this year. But first, the thing that I want to share with you guys that I'm most excited about is the Manifesting Your Soulmate experience. We're going to be taking people through an 8-week course with the both of us multiple times a week, just like this. You're going to have personal access to us through Voxer to be able to ask any questions that you may want to ask about manifesting your soulmate or anything around that topic. And we are almost complete with an entire 8-week curriculum for things for you to do every single day and implement in your life so that you can manifest your soulmate, so that you can have a relationship like this, maybe even a relationship better than this. You know, you can do all the things that you've always wanted to do in terms of love by working with us to create that in your life. Newsflash, all of the stuff that we put out, all the information that we give you guys is not always going to be free. We are going to give you a lot of free stuff. We're going to give you a lot of value, but in order to continually create and provide value for the world and help raise the love vibration of this planet and help you manifest your soulmate and have love in every area of your life, be in mad love with yourself, God, your partner, you know, everything in your life, we've got to earn income from doing that. So if you want to take a deeper dive, go to thesoulmatecommunity.com, text 85100, text soulmate to 85100, leave your information. The course that we're coming out with is almost complete. Honestly, we should have created a sales page before we did this Facebook Live or this YouTube or IGTV or podcast or whatever that you're listening to. But that's kind of the reality when you're launching a business, you have a young baby, there's a lot of different things happening. Just understand you are going to get so much value, so much more value than you pay for, that you'll probably even want to pay us more after you complete the work that you do with us. So we've got 2 more things. We got 1 more, but we're throwing on a bonus because, like I said, we always over-deliver. We always under-promise and over-deliver. Did we kind of finish on dating? We finished on dating? Okay. 12. Marriage is way better than dating. Marriage is way better than dating. Baby, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, and so what we mean by that is when we got married, we noticed an immediate difference in how we interacted with each other. There was a level of responsibility, a level of seriousness, and we're not necessarily advocating that marriage is the only valid relationship. That's not at all what we mean. There's plenty of people who have been together forever and they're not married, they're common-law, or they're just dating, whatever it is. What we mean is that commitment that you make to somebody, and when you do it in a way where there's a ceremony and the rest of the world sees that commitment, and there is a different level of respect and responsibility, and you do feel like there is a union. Like, you know, you were 2 people that became one, and you had a ceremony to unify each other. And anyone can have any sort of ceremony. It doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage. It could be you and your partner having a commitment ceremony at home by yourself and just saying the words, you know, this is what I am going to do. I am committing myself to you for the rest of my life. and we're going to do this together. We're going to be partners in life, and I will honor and respect you to the best of my ability that I can.
Marriage is like, there's no easy way out either. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just get in an argument and be like, well, forget you.
I'm getting a divorce.
Yeah, because it's a really long process.
Yeah.
It's a really long process. And marriage is not ownership. If you're not, I'm not going to say this, but if there's anybody who's in a relationship that feels like they have to stay in it because they're married, I'm not giving anybody advice. But what I'm saying is, marriage is not ownership, it's stewardship. You should be treating somebody well and be treated well. So for us, this isn't like some legal binding, triple beam, crazy contract that we own each other and blah, blah, blah. It's a stewardship. It's a daily opportunity to show up and give love and service to each other, okay? Marriage is way better than dating because you're so much more committed that it allows love to flourish so much more. When you have shallow roots, you don't flourish. When you have deep, thick, to the center of the earth roots, you're going to flourish. Your garden is going to flourish. Marriage is a way to deepen your roots. And it's not a shallow commitment. It is a deep commitment. And it is something that you must really think through before you make that commitment. But for us, we knew within less than a month that we wanted to get married. And then we got married on our 2-month anniversary. And the marriage was just an expression of what we already felt. But the marriage really does make you feel even more deeply in love and committed to that person. Do you have anything else on that?
Yeah, so what we want to hit is that marriage is a serious topic. It's not something that you do because you are lonely or you feel like you should be getting married because you're at an age that you should be getting married. And I was going to say something else on the reverse of that. If you are scared about getting married and you're with somebody and you don't want to make that commitment, then understand that is a real fear because there is another level in your relationship when you do become married. So what we're trying to emphasize here is that there is a gravity, there is a weight to that type of commitment, and it's not like what you see in the movies where, you can get married and whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's not, like, really be conscious about it. And I think there's a misconception in the world is that, you can just get a divorce or, you can get annulled or whatever it is. Really try to make an effort. Like, originally a marriage,
don't try.
Well, yeah, do have put an effort in there. But a marriage was supposed to be a life-lasting thing. That's why the original vows are, till death do you part, because it is supposed to be a lifelong commitment. And I think you can honor and respect that, and you don't have to be traditional about it at all, but just understand that there's a weight to it. And if you treat it like there's a weight to it, you're going to have a lot deeper roots than, if you were just, casually dating.
Absolutely. So when you make that commitment, you are telling that person, I'm going to be there for you. And it's not just like, maybe when the sun is shining, maybe when it's not raining, maybe when it's easy. You're there for them through everything. And when you're there for somebody in their darkest times and in their highest mountains, it's a lot stronger of a love. Absolutely. And 13, as a bonus, we want to share with you guys the benefit of prayer, meditation, and doing your spiritual practice together. Do you want to talk about that while I write it down?
Yeah. So I must have been 3 months pregnant, and Jacob and I went to a meditation workshop, and that meditation is called Ascension. And they give instructions that, the best practice is to meditate 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at lunch, and 20 minutes at night. We do 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, because that fits into our schedule a lot better. And we noticed an automatic difference in how we responded to each other, how we felt about ourselves, how we felt about our relationship, because we had carved out special time to be with each other, but also we were with ourselves because we were in meditation. And I wasn't somebody who is, who I would say, yes, I love meditation, I love meditating, all that kind of stuff, before I found my type of meditation, which is Ascension, which everybody will have their own. There's so many different types of meditation. There's guided meditation, there's just music, there's solo meditation, whatever it is. And so finding some sort of practice that feeds your soul and doing it as many times as you can for however long that you can per day, and doing it with the person that you love is the most incredible experience. It's a gift you can give yourself, and it's a gift that you can give your partner and your relationship.
Absolutely. So when you do that together, you're filling your individual cup up, which, one thing I thought about as I was writing this, we really didn't mention anything about spending time with yourself, but spending time with yourself could be a 14th one. You've got to have a little bit of time to yourself just to be with yourself and not be 100% intertwined with, you have to be with another person 24/7, because that becomes codependent and that becomes very unhealthy. But, for whatever time you see fit or whenever, just spend a little bit of time by yourself. It doesn't have to be every single day. There are seasons where you'll do it more. There are seasons where you'll do it less. It could be every day. But
it could be shower, it could be in the bathroom.
You're just driving to the gym, whatever you're doing.
Alone with your thoughts, and you check in with yourself.
Yeah, be sure you do that. But when you pray, meditate, or practice whatever spiritual practice you do together, then you're filling not only your individual cup up, you're filling that joined cup up between the two of you. And that creates a much deeper love and spiritual unseen connection between the two of you, where the two of you continue to mold and form and become more of one. So I think we've given plenty of wonderful information. Congratulations to all of you for listening to all this information. This is one of the best ways we can think of, celebrating our 1-year anniversary, is by bringing more love to the world and giving you all the opportunity to experience more love in your life. But one thing I was thinking about this morning was, throughout our journey and throughout our process with the Soulmate community, we will never make our service to the world greater than our commitment to spending time and taking care of ourselves. We are going to practice what we share and put ourselves first before anybody else, because if we weren't, then we would be living an inauthentic method of relationship, and we would not be doing any of the things that we talk about. So I tell you all that to say, now we're going to go have some vegan donuts. We're going to spend the rest of the day spending time together, doing what we're passionate about, and just enjoying our life. But I challenge you, if you've taken value, share this. If you've gotten some insight, comment and share what you've got. If there's somebody that you know that needs to hear this information, tag them on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Send this to them. Host a watch party. Share this. If you want to take a deeper dive, if you want more of this information, then go to our website, thesoulmatecommunity.com, leave your information, or text Soulmate to 85100, because we can only do this, we can only bring this to the world if we are receiving income to be in a place of abundance. If we are in a place of abundance, we have all the time in the world to get better and share more and bring more value to you. This is not always going to be free. Today this was free because we wanted to do something very special for everybody, but this is trillion-dollar information, and we want every single person in the world to love themselves, to love their partner, to love life, love God, and love everything else around them in the exact same way that we have been blessed to begin doing and are continuing to do every single day. So as we mentioned, the very first experience that we're going to be putting out to the world is the Manifesting Your Soulmate Experience. It's going to be an 8-week course, full access to us, 8 weeks of content to take you through to master this information and to master it within yourself, to manifest that special person in your world if you have not already. In particular, it's for people who have not manifested their soulmate. Could it be beneficial for somebody who has? They're already with somebody? Absolutely. The two of you could go through it together and grow your love deeper and deeper, because love has no end. We're so grateful that you spent this time with us. We are going to bring all of the love, all the joy, all the beauty that we can to the world. We wish you all a beautiful 2020. Have a beautiful day, everyone. God bless.